Very good evening to all of you, friends. A very good evening to all of you. A very good evening to all of you, friends. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. A very good evening to all of you. Now, you just have 1 month left for your examination. एक month ही बाकी है. 30 more days, you are done with this CLAT examination. You guys are preparing hard. I know that you guys are working really hard, day and night, to prepare for this D-Day. That is the next month, first week of December. In this session, I am going to discuss with you certain very important aspects of law of contracts. And why law of contracts? Because over the years, if you look at the previous year's question paper, you will find that a substantial amount of questions do come from law of contract. Substantial questions. Valid contract. What is invalid contract? What is void contract? What is voidable contract? So today, I am going to explain to you what is void contract and what is voidable contract, what is frustration of contract, that is section 56 contract, bailment, pledge, and then definitely contingent contract and a wagering agreement. So these are the various topics that I have chosen to discuss with you, keeping in mind that these topics raises a number of questions in the eyes of the person who is sitting for this examination. क्या bailment क्या होता है, pledge क्या होता है, इन दोनों में difference क्या है, contingent contract क्या है, आपका wagering agreement क्या है, इन दोनों में difference क्या है. So all that I am going to do today is to explain to you certain very important aspects of law of contract. But before that, let me tell you, I will take a number of more classes in this crash course, law of contract, definitely, as well as miscellaneous part 1. Okay. Now let's begin. Let's begin without much ado. A very good evening to each and every one of you. Great to see a number of students joining me. Now, over the years, over the last 5 years, if you see, law of contract plays a very important role. Law of contract से 25%, 25% of the questions have come from law of contracts. And that is why law of contracts will play and will definitely play a very important role in this examination. So you should have this clarity in your mind कि law of contracts में अगर करके जाता हूं तो 18 से 20 या 30%, 20 से 30% के बीच मेरे को डेफिनेटली क्वेश्चन में सॉल्व कर सकता हूं. Now, if you see the other topics, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से 50% आया था 2020 में, but law of contract से in 2022 only 12.5%. Only 12.5%. That means 2021, 2020 में बहुत ज्यादा आया था. इस साल आने का बहुत ज्यादा संभावना है लॉ ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से, और इसलिए जो मैं चीज आज बताऊंगा प्लीज नोट करके रखना, ठीक है? और कभी भी डाउट होता है तो आई एम ऑलवेज देयर फॉर यू. नाउ इफ यू सी 2023 CLAT 2023, the kind of questions that came was from law of contracts, was from the source of Indian Express, and the question was pretty easy. It dealt with validity of a contract. What are valid contracts? What are invalid contracts? Right? So आपको शायद रेपिटेशन नहीं आएगा, बट ये टॉपिक बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो आज हम लोग इसके बारे में बात करेंगे. CLAT 2021 में लॉ ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट से 12.5% आया था, just 12.5%. Now, what I am going to discuss today, as I said, I am going to discuss with you the difference between a void and a voidable contract. I'm going to discuss with you what is section 56 contract, frustration of a contract, contract of bailment and pledge, then contingent contract and a wagering agreement. These are some of the most important topics that a lot of students are confused, and I am here today to solve or to sort out all your confusion relating to these topics. And if you have any doubts, definitely chat box is open. I'm going to look at it. The first topic, void and voidable contract. Now, before you see the slide, now, what is a contract and what is an agreement? An agreement that has the legal validity or the enforceability of law is called a contract. So those agreements that are valid as per the rules of the Indian Contract Act of 1857, they are enforceable in a court of law, they are called contracts. Now, what are void contracts? Void contract matlab, I enter into a contract with a 7-year-old boy. I enter into an agreement with a 7-year-old boy. Is that contract valid? Of course not. The Indian Contract Act says a major above 18 bolta hai. Suppose I enter into an agreement with a mad or a lunatic man, a person who is lunatic. He is suffering from insanity. Is it a valid contract? Of course not. It is a void contract. It is void. So if I enter into an agreement to sell an AK-47 or cocaine or heroin, which are illegal to transact, those are void agreements. They are void from the very beginning. So void contracts are also referred to as void ab initio contract. Very, very important. Void contracts are also referred to as void ab initio contract. That means they are void from the very beginning itself. Now, if you enter into a contract with a minor, if you enter into a contract with a person who is suffering from insanity, if you are entering into a contract where either the consideration or the object is illegal. Suppose I enter into a contract and I say that I am going to give you 5 lakh rupees provided you kill Mr. A. Is it voidable or is it void? Of course, such a contract is void. So a contract which is void is always referred to a contract that cannot be enforceable in the eyes of law. That cannot be enforceable in the eyes of law. But now let's understand what is a voidable agreement. Coercion. मैंने आपको बोला, I say that if you do not give me your house, I am going to kill you right now. Sign the contract wherein you say, I so and so, son of so and so, daughter of so and so, residing at so and so place, do hereby give my house to Mr. X. I put a gun on your forehead. I have kept a gun on your forehead. So you are under a fear. You happen to be under a kind of a fear. And that's why you signed that contract. Now, is that contract void or voidable? Is that contract void or voidable? The contract is voidable. The contract is voidable because a contract that you undergo, that you agree to under coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, as well as mistake of fact, not mistake of law, is voidable. A voidable contract is a contract that is otherwise valid. But you have to go to the courts. You will have to go to the courts and tell the judge that, Judge, I signed that contract under fear. I signed that contract under a kind of a fear. You have to tell the judge, I signed that contract under misrepresentation. I signed that contract under fraud. There was a mistake of fact for which I had signed that contract. and henceforth it is voidable. The judge is going to finally say the contract is voidable. But void contracts, you don't have to go to the courts. For a void contract, you don't have to go to the courts. Am I clear on this particular issue? Have you understood the main difference? Now, what is coercion? Use of physical force, something that is illegal under the Indian Penal Code. You have undue influence if you are using your position. I'm the principal of a college. I call your father and I say that please enter, and I know that Mr. X's father happens to have a Apple showroom, okay, fantastic phone showroom, okay. So I tell him, I am going to detain your son if you do not enter a contract and say that I am going to sell Apple phones for the faculties of my college for 50% discount. For 50% discount. Now, your Mr. X's father entered into that contract because a person had some kind of a position. Suppose I am the commissioner of police. A person, because of his position, can influence the will of someone else. If you are in a position whereby you can influence the will of someone else, that means you are in a dominant position. Undue influence, fraud. I say that I'm going to give you a black pen, but intentionally I give you a blue pen. You ask for a laptop, I deliberately give you a mobile phone. Deliberately, knowingly. That is called fraud. If I do it unknowingly, misrepresentation. Is that clear? So, have you understood the difference between a void contract and a voidable contract? A void contract is a contract that is void from the very beginning. Whereas a voidable contract is not void from the very beginning. You have to bang the doors of the court and get a declaration from the court saying that this contract is bad and voidable. Am I clear? Each and every one of you. Every one of you. Any questions on that? Any questions on that? Yes, Pranjali, the person is in a position to dominate the will of that person. Mistake of fact. Okay, mistake of fact simply means in case, now there is, very thin line difference between mistake of fact and misrepresentation insofar as CLAT, your understanding of the law is concerned. Now, you also have to understand one very important fact that, the law that you know for insofar as a CLAT student is concerned will be different from somebody who is in his second year in law school. And that's why I will not be trying to explain to you every detail of the difference between mistake of fact and misrepresentation, because for your purpose, because मैं तो वकील को तो नहीं पढ़ा रहा हूं, मैं क्लास 12 के बच्चे को पढ़ा रहा हूं जो एक लॉ एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशन देगा. Now, mistake of fact simply means in case when you are entering into a contract, there is a mistake insofar as identity of parties. I'll give you an example of mistake of fact. Suppose there are two, similarly looking twin, identical twins. Mr. A and Mr. B are identical twins. They come to my shop. I have a shop. They come to my shop and then they say that, sir, I want to buy a black pen. I say, okay. Mr. A gives the money and he says, sir, मैं और भी कुछ shopping कर लूंगा. जाते वक्त I'm going to take that pen from you. I said, okay. After half an hour, Mr. B, who happens to be an identical twin, come to my shop. I don't understand, both of them look very similar. are very identical. So I give that pen to Mr. B. So there is a mistake as to identity of parties. There is a mistake as to identity of parties. That is called mistake of fact. Another example. Mistake as to subject matter. Now suppose I go to a shop, I go to a showroom, and I want to buy a Levi's jeans. And there was a person just behind me, he wanted to buy a Lee Cooper jeans. Now जब पैकिंग हुआ, मेरे को एक पैकेट मिला और उनको भी एक पैकेट मिला. मैंने क्या ऑर्डर किया था? लीवाइस जीन्स. मेरे पीछे जो खड़ा था, he had ordered for a Lee Cooper jeans. Now unfortunately by mistake I got the Lee Cooper jeans and he got the Levi's jeans. So there is a mistake as to subject matter. Am I clear? What is mistake as to fact? Am I clear to each and every one? Okay. Now let's see this particular slide. What is it written? A contract which ceases to be enforceable. A contract which is enforceable by law at the option of one party, whose option was taken either under coercion, either under undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, or mistake of fact. Valid when made by subsequent becomes unenforceable. So it is unenforceable. It remains voidable until it is cancelled. Parties to a contract can't demand performance of a contract. If aggrieved party does not cancel it within a reasonable time, performance of the contract can be asked for. So voidable contracts are valid contracts unless and until you go to the court and ask for a revocation of it. And the reason? Due to the change in circumstances, the contract ceases to be enforceable. Consent of the parties of the contract is not free. Now, why is it not free? Coercion, undue influence, a misrepresentation, fraud, and mistake of fact. No party can claim any damage for the non-performance of the contract. In certain cases, the aggrieved party can claim loss that they have suffered if they have not gone to the court and asked for a revocation of that contract within a reasonable time. So guys, here is this is very important. Okay, this is very important. Yes, the class is on app, not on, yes, the class is both on app as well as on our YouTube platform. The class is happening both on our app as well as on our YouTube platform. Okay. So today we have dealt with this particular important situation which deals with void and voidable contract. Moving on to the next important topic, and that is frustration of a contract. Now, when we enter into a contract, there can be, after we have entered into a contract, there can be an intervening circumstances. Now, suppose a person in Ukraine in 2019, okay, now I'll give you an example. First, straight away an example. In 2020, a person enters into an agreement. A person is from Ukraine. The other person is from Russia. Ukraine and Russia. They say that Russian guy, Mr. X and Mr. Y, Mr. X is going to buy 100 tons of rice every year for the next 20 years from the man from Russia. So Ukraine guy is going to send 100 tons of rice every year to Russia for the next 20 years. And the Russian man promises to pay 1 million to the Ukraine man. अचानक एक वॉर डिक्लेयर हो गया, ठीक है, 2022 में एक वॉर डिक्लेयर हुआ बिटवीन रशिया एंड यूक्रेन. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दिस न्यू डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ अ वॉर, एक वॉर डिक्लेयर हो गया. नाउ कैन द रशियन गाय, can the Ukraine man, Mr. Y, send 100 tons of rice every year for the next 20 years that he had promised in 2020 to Russia? The answer is no, because the things have changed. Things have changed. The situation the relation between Russia and Ukraine has changed since 2022. Now, can the Russian guy, Mr. X, go to the court and say that Ukraine guy did not send me 100 tons of rice, which he had promised that for the next 20 years he is going to send it to me? Can he say that? The court will say that the contract has become impossible to perform because of a supervening event. Because of a supervening event. Am I clear? Another example. Now, दिवाली आ रहा है, दिवाली चल रहा है, अभी बहुत शोर चल रहा है, सब लोग पार्टी के मूड में हैं. Let me give you an example from this Diwali. Suppose there is a Diwali party, okay? And suppose a singer from Bollywood, whatever, XYZ place, is being asked to perform in Delhi on the day of Diwali. Now, prior to that date of Diwali, if that singer dies, सिंगर ही मर गया है, जिसके साथ आपने कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया था वो सिंगर ही मर गया है. नाउ कैन यू एनफोर्स द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? कैन यू एनफोर्स द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? माय क्वेश्चन इज सिंपली दिस. Can you explain, can you understand? Suppose you enter into a contract, there is a party, you want to host a party in Delhi, you enter into a contract with a singer who is to come from Bombay. And before the date of Diwali, he meets with an accident, he dies. Now, can you go to the court and say, अरे मेरे को तो गाना सुनना ही है? अरे कोर्ट क्या एक मुर्दा इंसान को जीवित करके आपको गाना सुनाएगा? क्या एक कोर्ट कर सकता है? That is called frustration of a contract. The contract is said to be frustrated. That is known as the doctrine of frustration, and as we all call it, Section 56 contract. Death or incapacity, war lag gaya. Now there is a change in the circumstances. There is a change in the circumstances that leads to impossibility. It is something like it is impossible for the parties to perform. And that is very, very important for each and every one of you to understand what is frustration of a contract. Is that clear? Everyone. Is that clear to each and everyone? तो आपको समझना पड़ेगा कि ऐसे कुछ अगर इंटरवीनिंग कुछ सर्कमस्टेंसेस होता है, change of circumstances, then it becomes absolutely impossible for the parties to a contract to enforce that contract. ठीक है? Okay, fantastic. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. This is for you to understand. The plaintiff and the defendant entered into a contract in which the defendant agreed to let the plaintiff use the survey gardens and music hall on 4 certain days. So 2 people enter into a contract in which one people say that, you can use my garden provided you pay so and so rupees. After the signing of the after the signing of the contract, but before the first contract, the concert hall was destroyed by fire. Another example. I say that, I have a huge party place. I have a huge farmhouse where I give it on rent. Here is a man who had a huge farmhouse. He wanted to give it on rent. And, people want to, the Diwali mein, they want to enjoy in a party place. Okay, farmhouse hai, बहुत बड़ा farmhouse है. Now what happens? जिस दिन कॉन्सर्ट होने वाला था उसके पहले पूरा फार्म हाउस जल के राख हो गया, खत्म. There was a destruction of the entire premise. Now that is called frustration of a contract. A contract is said to be frustrated because there is a change in the circumstances for which everything is over. The contract cannot be enforced. The contract cannot be enforced. Am I clear? Is that clear, everyone? The contract is over. Okay. Now this is an act of God. Okay. No. देखिए ठीक है, आप अगर एक्ट ऑफ गॉड भी बोलते हैं, सपोज अभी तो 2 दिन पहले ही, 2 days back there was an earthquake in Delhi, there was an earthquake in Nepal, in which we also felt it, stay in Delhi. Now क्या हुआ? Suppose there is a function in Nepal. एक बिल्डिंग में एक बड़ा सा ऑडिटोरियम में एक फंक्शन होना था नेपाल में, और वो अर्थक्वेक के लिए पूरा बिल्डिंग खत्म हो गया. Now what happens? तो it's also a case of frustration of a contract. एक दिन में पूरा बिल्डिंग बन सकता है? नहीं. तो पूरा कॉन्सर्ट ही खत्म हो जाएगा ना. देखिए, कोरोना वायरस के चक्कर में कितने सारे कॉन्सर्ट, कितने सारे चीज बंद हो गए थे. That is what we understand by frustration of a contract. Am I clear? So guys, if you are liking this session, do press the like button and share this session with your friends, because this session is very, very important. All of you must definitely watch this session. So the judgment was, the loss suffered by the plaintiff is not recoverable. A party's duty under the contract is discharged if the performance of the contract involves particular goods, which without the fault of either of the parties was destroyed, rendering it impossible to perform. Here is the situation where it is impossible for the parties to perform. Is that clear? Am I clear to everyone? Okay. Another example, read it. There was a dispute between the parties revolved around whether a contract for the sale of land was discharged and came to an end due to a certain supervening circumstances, matlab an unfortunate circumstances. That is, either a flood हो गया, earthquake हो गया, या एक short circuit से पूरा building जल के राख हो गया. Now, अगर एक अर्थक्वेक होता है, या फ्लड हो जाता है, या फ्लैश फ्लड आता है, एक वोल्केनो इरप्शन हो जाता है. Now, these are all supervening circumstances. Now, because it is a supervening circumstances, you cannot force the court to pass an order asking the court that direct the parties to perform their part of the promise. How is it possible? Suppose I enter into an agreement with a person in Kulu जहां फ्लड आया था 2-3 महीना पहले. I entered into a contract with a person in Kulu who has huge apple orchard. बहुत बड़ा गार्डन है जहां एप्पल उन्होंने लगाया. And I say that I am going to buy 10 tons of apples from you. And he said yes. And we agreed on the price. अचानक कुल्लू में फ्लड आ गया, उनका पूरा जमीन बियास नदी ने ले लिया, खा गया. बियास नदी फ्लड होने के चक्कर में उनका जमीन पूरा खा लिया. Now, can I go to the court tomorrow and say, oh, I don't know whether you have the land or not, but you promised me that you are going to sell me 10 tons of apples. Give me my 10 tons of apples. The court will say, there's a flood, there's a landslide, all these things have happened. Now, the contract has frustrated because, it is impossible for him to supply apples because his entire land has been engulfed by the river Bias. Now, what do you do under those circumstances? That is what we understand by frustration of a contract. That is what we mean by frustration of a contract. Is it clear? Am I clear to everyone? Am I clear to each and every one of you? सर, अगर एक पार्टी ने पहले ही पे कर दिया तो उसका पैसा वापस मिलेगा? हाँ, वापस मिल जाएगा, पैसा वापस मिल जाएगा, उतना तक ही. But you cannot direct him. Can a court direct a dead man to be alive and perform in a party? Of course not. Right? All of you? सभी को समझ में आ रहा है? जैसे लग रहा है, ठीक है, फैंटास्टिक, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है, because these are very very important things that you must all understand. Okay? चलो आगे बढ़ते. Now let's come to this concept of bailment. Bailment का मतलब क्या है? It simply means delivery of goods for a particular purpose. मेरे पास एटीएम कार्ड है बट वो चल नहीं रहा है. मेरे पास क्रेडिट कार्ड है, मेरे को वो क्रेडिट कार्ड चल नहीं रहा है. मेरा एटीएम कार्ड ब्लॉक हो गया, मेरा क्रेडिट कार्ड ब्लॉक हो गया, बट रात में मेरे को एक्सीडेंट हो गया है, मेरे को हॉस्पिटल में भर्ती होना है, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है. और फॉरगेट दिस, थिंक अबाउट अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम 50 years बैक. 50 साल पहले आपके पास क्रेडिट कार्ड था, आपके पास डेबिट कार्ड था, आपके पास एटीएम कार्ड था, कुछ नहीं था. ऑनलाइन ट्रांजैक्शन भी कुछ नहीं था 50 साल पहले. Now, if you require 50,000 rupees in the middle of the night, what would you do? What you would do is, आपके पास सोने का एक अंगूठी है, सोने का एक चेन है गले में, सोने का 2-4 चूड़ियां हैं. आप जाते किसी के पास, किसके पास? एक ज्वेलरी शॉप के पास, और आप बोलते, सर, I require 50,000 rupees in the night right now. I know you have the money, you are a rich man. I'm not asking for any favor. I will get the money in 3 days time. आज फ्राइडे रात है, सैटरडे संडे बैंक बंद है, मंडे में बैंक में जाके मैं पैसा निकाल के आपको दे दूंगा. But for the time being, I am in dire need of the money to send my friend, admit my friend who has met an accident into the hospital. तो मैं एक पर्पस के लिए मैं आपसे पैसा मांग रहा हूं, और 3 दिन, 4 दिन, 10 दिन, 1 महीना, 2 महीना के अंदर में आपको आई एम गोइंग टू रिटर्न यू बैक दैट एंटायर मनी along with interest. And when I return you that money, मेरा चूड़ी, मेरा गले का चेन, मेरा अंगूठी, you have to return it back. Am I clear? हिंदी में कहते हैं गिरवी रखना. हिंदी में कहते हैं गिरवी रखना. Now, mortgage is different. Pranjali, mortgage is different. Mortgage is in relation to an immovable property. घर का, लैंड का कागजात को देना mortgage. That is different. Bailment is different. Bailment is different. Okay, is that clear, all of you? It's a kind of a गिरवी रखना. Okay, आलिया, Yes, absolutely. So when you are doing something, you want some money, for a particular purpose, and when the purpose is over, you shall return the money and you will recover the gold, silver, तांबा, कॉपर, जो जो चीज आपने दिया था उनको, you are going to get it back. Is that clear? So it is a delivery of goods from one person to the other, and when the contract is accomplished, when the purpose is accomplished, he is going to return you back those goods. He does not become the owner of those goods. He does not become the owner of those goods. Very, very important. Very, very important. He does not become the owner of those goods. And that is what is one of the most important aspects about bailment. The person who is delivering the goods and the person to whom the goods are delivered. These are the two parties. The two parties in a contract of bailment is जो पैसा ले रहा है और जो सामान दे रहा है, और जो पैसा दे रहा है और कुछ गोल्ड अपने पास रख रहा है. Is that clear? Every one of you. Every one of you. That is very, very important. If you have any doubts, ask me. That is the concept of bailment. Simple हिंदी में जो कहते हैं गिरवी रखना. So there is delivery of possession of goods. Gold goes from one hand to the other. Now I am not selling my gold, please. You are not selling your gold. You are just transferring the possession of the gold. गोल्ड का सेल नहीं कर रहे हैं आप. You are just transferring the possession of the gold. The jeweler does not become the owner of the gold. He has to return you back the gold when you give him the principal along with interest. So this is a delivery upon contract. Deliver must be for a particular purpose. Purpose मतलब किसी का रात में एक्सीडेंट हो गया, हॉस्पिटल बोल रहा है मेडिसिन खरीदना है, मेरे पास पैसा नहीं है, मेरा एटीएम कार्ड चल नहीं रहा है, मेरा क्रेडिट कार्ड चल नहीं रहा है, मैं क्या करूं? मैं सोने का अंगूठी दे देता हूं, बोलता हूं कि 10,000 रुपया आप मेरे को दे दो, और जब मैं वो पैसा आपको वापस दे देता हूं, आप मेरे को रिटर्न ऑफ द गुड्स करेंगे. मैं बेच तो नहीं रहा हूं. आई एम नॉट सेलिंग माई गोल्ड. कीप दैट इन योर माइंड. This is very, very important aspect. You are not selling your goods. You are just giving it to them for a particular amount of money. So there is a transfer of some goods for a very limited period. Manvi, very good. It is not a transfer of ownership. No. Transfer of possession. There is no transfer of ownership. There is a transfer of possession. Is that clear? Am I clear to everyone? ठीक है? Okay. Fantastic. Now, how can you terminate the bailment? If there is a time fixed कि 3 दिन के अंदर मैं पैसा वापस दे दूंगा, आप मेरे को मेरा गोल्ड वापस देना. So expiry of the time that is fixed. On the fulfillment of the purpose, okay, I return you back my the principal amount along with interest. You give me back my gold with 3% interest, 10% interest. वो हो सकता है. Inconsistent use of goods. Now, if the goods are inconsistent or have been destructed of the subject matter of bailment, destruction of subject matter of bailment. Now, if I say that, I have taken the money for paying bills of the hospital and I do it for buying, an AK-47. व्हाट इज द सब्जेक्ट मैटर? आप क्यों पैसा ले रहे थे? आपने लिया था पैसा एक सब्जेक्ट मैटर के लिए, एक सब्जेक्ट मैटर के लिए। कल अगर आप दूसरा कुछ चीज के लिए आप वो इस्तेमाल कर रहे हो, देयर इज अ डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट मैटर। नाउ इफ द सब्जेक्ट मैटर हैज बीन स्टोलन, there's a termination of bailment, death of any party, termination of by the bailer. So either of this 6 में, और इससे क्वेश्चंस नहीं आते हैं, ज्यादा स्ट्रेस देने का जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज दे डोंट आस्क यू क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस, दे आस्क यू क्वेश्चन ऑन व्हाट इज बेलमेंट। आपने किसी से पैसा दिया, तो व्हाट इज योर राइट, व्हाट इज योर ड्यूटी, what have you used this purpose, or what have you used this money for, what is the purpose of it? So ये सब चीज से मैक्सिमम क्वेश्चंस आते हैं। Sir, why we don't say it's an agreement, it's an agreement, okay, yeah, okay, sure. Now before I move ahead, BYJU'S exam prep brings to you CLAT 2024 test series. Get this test series, those who haven't. We are providing you with 25 CLAT mocks, 15 ALET mocks, and 15 other law entrance examination mocks. Okay? Unlimited access to all our 55 mocks. Get it now. Now let's understand what is pledge. What is a pledge? Now, a pledge is also a kind of a bailment. देखिए, एक बड़ा सेट है जिसको कहते हैं बेलमेंट, इसके अंदर एक छोटा सा प्लेज सेट है जिसको कहते हैं प्लेज। डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड? नाउ देयर इज अ लार्जर सेट, देयर इज अ वेरी बिग सेट, देयर इज अ वेरी बिग सेट called bailment. There is a smaller set called a pledge. Now, so a contract of pledge happens to be a subset of the contract of bailment. Now, what happens in a pledge? The goods bailed are kept as security for a debt. Debt means loan. बेलमेंट में आप किसी भी चीज के लिए आप पैसा ले रहे थे और आप आपका सोना गहना आप दे के रखे थे कि दैट्स द काइंड ऑफ सिक्योरिटी। ए बेलमेंट ऑफ गुड्स एज सिक्योरिटी फॉर पेमेंट, बेलमेंट की तरफ है, एकदम बेलमेंट ही है, फॉर सिक्योरिंग पेमेंट ऑफ ए डेट इज कॉल्ड प्लेज। It is very similar to that of bailment. All the basic essentials of a valid contract must be there in a pledge also. Without that, it is unenforceable in law, like delivery of possession, ownership cannot be transferred. Now, one very important thing that you must keep in mind is that you are not transferring ownership, you are just transferring possession of the goods. ट्रांसफरिंग पोजेशन। मैं आपको कल बताता हूं, मैंने एक लोन लिया है बैंक से और मैं बोलता हूं कि देखिए बैंक ने मेरे को एक अमाउंट दिया है, तो बैंक वाले बोल रहे हैं कि अरे साहब आप तो इतना कमाते नहीं हो जितना आपने लोन लिया है, कुछ सिक्योरिटी डालो। तो मैंने मेरा चूड़ी, मेरा गहना, मेरा अंगूठी सब दे दिया बैंक को to secure my loan, to secure my debt. That is called pledge. Am I clear now? Is that clear? So the difference between debt, bailment and pledge is bailment is for a particular purpose. Hospitalization, you require money for your daughter's marriage, बच्चे का हायर एजुकेशन के लिए कोई लोग लोन लेते हैं, वो उसको कहते हैं बेलमेंट। बट व्हेन यू आर सिक्योरिंग योर डेट, व्हेन यू आर ट्राइंग टू सिक्योर योर डेट लोन, उसको कहते हैं pledge. Am I clear? Am I clear, everyone? So today we are trying to understand bailment सिर्फ मूवेबल, यस, बेलमेंट मूवेबल चीज के साथ ही होता है, मॉर्गेज इमूवेबल चीज के साथ होता है. हितेश, so guys, are you understanding this particular thing? Okay, so these are certain very important aspect, क्योंकि काफी लोगों के पास दिमाग में क्वेश्चंस आता है, सर what is the difference between bailment and pledge? Both are talking about money. You are not transferring the ownership, you are just transferring the possession. तो difference क्या होता है? यही है difference. एक a pledge is a subset of the larger set called bailment. ठीक है? Now there are two parties who are involved. That's called, like, is a pawner and the pawnee. Okay, like the bailee and the bailer, same thing as a pawner and the pawnee. In the case of pledge, only possession is transferred to the pawnee. The pawnee must take care of the goods pledged under ordinary prudence as he would do for his same goods. That's, both the things are very similar. Now the real difference is, pawnee can't sell the goods without intervention of the court in case the pawner fails to repay the bank loan. बैंक लोन मतलब आप बैंक को कुछ सिक्योरिटी दे रहे हो सो दैट आपका लोन को वो बोल सकता है, देखिए मैं कल बैंक से 10 करोड़ रुपया उठा लिया. अब बैंक बोलेगा, रे साहब आप 5,000 रुपया कमाते हो, आप 10 करोड़ रुपया का लोन उठाए हो, आप कैसे हर मंथ एक 10 लाख करके इंटरेस्ट दोगे? कैसे आप हर मंथ 10 लाख रुपया करके इंटरेस्ट दोगे? आपका कमाई तो है 5,000 रुपया. देन आई से, मेरे पास बहुत सोना है, आप रखो. मैं अगर लोन इंटरेस्ट दे नहीं पाता हूं हर एक मंथ, मेरा सोना तो आपके पास है. इज दैट क्लियर? एम आई क्लियर नाउ? इज दैट क्लियर? Is that clear? That is what we understand by the concept of pledge. Is that clear? Okay. Now, let's start with a very interesting and a very significant topic called contingent contract. Contingent contract are also referred to as conditional contract. Now, what do you mean by conditional contract? Let's take this example. I say to the Indian cricket team people, there's a World Cup going on. Fantastic. India is performing so well. We wish the Indian team all the best in their endeavor to win this particular World Cup. And I tomorrow say that whichever team wins the World Cup, I am going to give the winning team 1 crore rupees. I am going to give, it's just an example. ऐसे कुछ नहीं बोला हूं. On a caveat, let me say this once again. This is just for the purposes of an example. So, Mr. X says that whichever team wins the World Cup, the winning team will get 1 crore rupees from Mr. X. And Indian cricket team, the Indian team wins the match. Indian team wins the match. And so, am I liable to pay, Mr. X liable to pay 1 crore rupees to the Indian cricket team in case the Indian cricket team wins? Yes. A contract to do something on the happening or not happening of a future event. Mr. X is liable. Tomorrow the Indian cricket team, if they wins the match, if they wins the World Cup match, they can definitely sue Mr. X if Mr. X does not give 1 crore rupees. Yes. I say, whoever can swim across the English Channel, I will give him 10,000 rupees. Mr. X swims it. Mr. X gets it. Mr. Y swims it across. Mr. Y gets it. Mr. Z swims it across. Mr. Z gets it. So over here, a contingent contract is something. A contract which is based on the happening or not happening of a future event. If it happens or if it does not happen. Whoever wins, whoever climbs Mount Everest, I am going to give him 10,000 rupees. A does it, B does it, C does it, D does it, E does it, doesn't matter. That is what we understand by a contingent contract. Right? That is what we understand by a contingent contract. So, the essentials of a contingent contract, are the performance of a contingent contract is made dependent upon the happening or not happening of a particular event. The event on which the performance is made depends on something that is collateral. That is, if you swim across the English Channel, that is collateral, you will win 10,000 rupees. Only if you win across, if you climb the Mount Everest, I am going to pay you 1 lakh rupees. So that is the collateral. Collateral means that thing that you are doing. The contingent event should not be inner, will be the promiser. So the contingent event is, wished upon. If you swim across the English Channel, that is collateral. If you do it, only you get that 10,000 rupees. If you climb the Mount Everest, only then you can ask for 1 lakh rupees. Am I clear? Is that clear? Is that clear? So that is what is a contingent contract. Now these contracts are absolutely valid. कल मैं बोलता हूं, जो इंसान, example, whoever scores 30 out of 30 in maths, I am going to give him a dairy milk. That is a conditional contract that is valid. It's like a prize that you win. It is like a prize that you win. Now comes wagering agreement. What exactly is a wagering agreement? A wager, एग्जाम्पल दे देता हूं, ठीक है? आपको वेजर का मतलब कैसे समझाऊं बताओ? 3 पत्ती, दिवाली के टाइम और 3 पत्ती का एग्जाम्पल ना दिया तो आप लोग तो मेरे को काफी कुछ बोल सकते हो. तो 3 पत्ती होता क्या है? 3 पत्ती होता क्या है बताता हूं, गेम खेल के बताता हूं आप लोगों के साथ, एकदम ओपनली. देखो, व्हाट इज अ वेजरिंग अग्रीमेंट? A, B, C and D. ठीक है? They want to play 3 patti. So your pack of cards. A gets 3 cards. So the person who is distributing the cards, shuffles the card, mixes the card very properly so they are not in sequence. He gives 1 to A, 1 card to A, then 1 card to D, 1 card to B, and 1 card each to C. The person who is distributing the cards does not have any idea which card went to A, which card went to D, which card went to B, or which card went to C. A does not know which card he is getting. B does not know which card he is getting. C does not know which card he is getting, as well as D does not know which card he is getting. Suppose A gets a king, a 6, and an 8. D gets a 7, he gets another 7, and he gets 3. B gets a joker, a king, and a 4. C gets ace, ace, and ace. A, who wins? Who wins this game? Tell me, all of you, who wins this game? All of you, fast, in the chat box. Who will win the game? It is C. Absolutely, all of you. Fantastic. It is C. Now, C ने कौन सा अपना स्किल दिखाया, बताइए? कौन जीतेगा? C जीत गया. कैसे जीता? कैसे जीता? तकदीर. इधर. When I say that whoever climbs Mount Everest, I am going to give him 10,000 rupees, is it something to do with your skill? हर इंसान माउंट एवरेस्ट चढ़ पाएगा? हर इंसान इंग्लिश चैनल क्रॉस कर लेगा? एकदम ही नहीं. There is no skill involved. मैं कल चुपचाप इधर बैठा हूं घर में, 2 दोस्त के साथ बोल रहा हूं, अगर इंडिया जीता तो तू मेरे को 100 रुपया देगा, अगर इंडिया हार गया तो मैं तेरे को 100 रुपया दूंगा. There is no skill involved. There is no skill involved. This is a situation where it is purely based on luck. Kismat, 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 or luck. Now the law simply deals with this particular aspect and says that these kind of agreements are not legal, and right now the law has changed to an extent, like betting has become legal, but with a huge tax. 28% of GST they have to pay. So अभी करंट लॉ काफी चेंज हो रहा है, बट ह्यूज अमाउंट ऑफ टैक्स लग गया है इसके ऊपर. ओके, सो आई नो दैट यू गाइज अंडरस्टूड. It's an uncertain event, mutual chances of winning and losing. A, B, C, D had mutual chances of winning and losing. Neither of the parties have control over of the event. No other interest except winning or losing the money. There is no other interest in the event except whoever wins or loses the money. That is bet. Is that clear? Is that clear to each and every one of you? Yes, 25% GST on online gaming. Correct. Poonawala. Yeah. So I hope you guys are understanding. Brilliant. Crossword competition involves skill. Athletic competition, skill. Horse race, share market transactions. आप अगर शेयर मार्केट में पैसा लगा रहे हो, वो वेजर है. आप अगर कल म्यूचुअल फंड खरीदते हो, आप अगर शेयर मार्केट में पैसा लगा रहे हो, इज इट अ वेजर? ओके, आई होप things are clear to you guys about what is a void and voidable contract, what is frustration of a contract, what is bailment, what is pledge, what is conditional contract, and what is, yes, wagering agreement. Let's start with some of the questions. Please read the question. All of you. All of you. It is well settled principle of law of contract that parties cannot by contract exclude the jurisdiction of all courts. Such a contract would constitute an agreement in restraint of a legal proceeding, contravening Section 28 of the Indian Contract Act of 1872. However, where parties to a contract confers jurisdiction on one amongst multiple courts having proper jurisdiction to the exclusion of all other courts, the parties cannot be said to have ousted the jurisdiction of all courts. So this deals with the agreements wherein you say, okay, in case there is a dispute between the parties, we will go to this particular court. We will not go to this court. So it depends on that. Read it carefully, all of you. Okay, are we done? Please tell me if you are done. Read it very carefully. The wordings of this particular passage. Very important. Moving on. Such a contract is valid and will bind the parties to a civil action. Section 28 says agreements in restraint of legal proceeding is void. Every agreement by which any party restricts absolutely from enforcing his rights under in respect of any contract by the usual legal proceeding in the ordinary tribunal, or which limits the time within which he may thus enforce his right, which extinguishes the right of any party thereto, or discharges any party thereto from any liability under or in respect of any contract on the expiry of the specified period, so as to restrict any party from enforcing his right, is void also. Read it. Now, these are purely CLAT based question passages. Okay? Moving on. Parties cannot, by agreement, confer jurisdiction on a court which lacks jurisdiction. So, parties, by way of an agreement, cannot. Now, suppose there is a dispute between me, who is in Delhi, and somebody who is in Bombay. There is a dispute between us. We cannot say that, in case there is any dispute, the Calcutta courts will have jurisdiction. You cannot confer jurisdiction, but you can definitely say only Bombay courts will have jurisdiction, only Delhi courts will have jurisdiction. That is perfectly fine. But you cannot confer jurisdiction to a court which lacks jurisdiction in the first place. But where several courts have jurisdiction to try the subject matter to a dispute, they can stipulate that a suit be brought exclusively before one of the several courts to the exclusion of the others. That is permitted. That is permitted. Is that clear? Is that clear, everyone? Okay. Let's जल्दी जल्दी करके क्वेश्चंस देखते हैं. रीड द क्वेश्चन. एग्जाम्पल मैं शायद अभी बोल दिया. एक बंदा बॉम्बे में रहता है, दूसरा बंदा दिल्ली में रहता है. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ है इन मुंबई एंड इन दिल्ली, एंड द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सेज दैट Mumbai courts will not have jurisdiction, Delhi courts will not have jurisdiction, Calcutta courts will have jurisdiction. Can you confer jurisdiction to a court which lacks jurisdiction in the first place? The correct answer is fast, all of you. Absolutely, the correct answer is the clause relates to restraint of legal proceeding. Very good. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Okay. Yes, option A is the right answer. Very good. Beautiful. Now, ऐसे ही questions आते हैं guys. Next question, question number 2. चेन्नई और बैंगलोर में दो बंदे रहते हैं. They said that okay, in case there is a dispute, only Chennai courts will decide the dispute. By an agreement, you can confer jurisdiction to a court which already has jurisdiction and excludes one of the courts. Exclude it. That is permitted, right? So let's see what is the correct answer. Okay. Yes, D is the correct answer. Very good. Very good. Very good. Already explained to you. Very good. Brilliant. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. Question number 3. आप कोर्ट में भी नहीं जा सकते, आप आर्बिट्रेशन भी नहीं कर सकते, कुछ भी नहीं कर सकते. इन केस देयर इज अ डिस्प्यूट, नथिंग कैन बी डन. दैट इज रेस्ट्रेन ऑफ लीगल प्रोसीडिंग्स. Mr. is from Agra, the other person is from Bhubaneswar. There is a sale of goods, there is a dispute, and one of the clauses says, in case, even if there is a dispute relating to the contract, you cannot either go to the court, cannot do anything, you cannot take any kind of a legal recourse. Yes, the correct answer is option A. This is called restraint of legal proceeding. This is what we understand by restraint of legal proceeding. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Question number 4. Within 6 months, any dispute arises. You can go approach either Ahmedabad or Ranchi court. Clause 7 says, in case the dispute arises after 6 months, only courts in Chennai will have jurisdiction. Yes, please tell me what is the correct answer. Yes. Clause 6 is valid. Clause 6 is valid. And clause 7 is void. This is valid. Okay. Clause 6 is valid. So the correct answer is option B. Okay. I think this is something that was given wrongly. Clause 6 is valid. Okay. This is a small, I had seen that, but I could not correct because this all came from the TTP team. They do it, all these things. Question number 5. Question number 5. Which of the following is true? Read it. The correct answer is parties cannot by an contract exclude the jurisdiction of all courts. It cannot. You have to see, then it would amount to, taking away any kind of legal jurisdiction of a court. You cannot, even by contract, exclude the jurisdiction of all courts. Is that clear? Parties can, by contract, extinguish the rights under any contract. Yes, that can be done. You can extinguish the right under a contract. But you cannot exclude the jurisdiction of all courts. That is what the passage deals with. Is that clear? Option B is the correct answer. Yeah, option B. ठीक है? So guys, देख लो. Yeah. Let's move on to the next question or the next passage. Communication when complete. The communication of a proposal is complete when it comes to the knowledge of the person to whom it is made. I send you a letter. Say I want to sell my pen for ₹100. The moment it comes to your knowledge, it is complete. Communication of an acceptance is complete as against the proposer when it is put in the course of transmission. मैं जब वो लेटर को पोस्ट ऑफिस के पोस्ट बॉक्स के अंदर फेंक देता हूं, मेरे तरफ से कंप्लीट है. It is out of the power of the acceptor or against the acceptor when it comes to the knowledge of the proposer. Thus, the provision makes no difference in the position of the offer. The offerer becomes bound when a properly addressed and adequately stamped letter of acceptance is posted. The acceptor does not become bound by merely posting his acceptance. He becomes bound only when his acceptance comes to the knowledge of the proposer. So when my letter reaches you and you read the letter, my proposal is complete. When your acceptance reaches me, I read it, it is complete from my end. But it is complete from your end when you drop it into the post box or you put it in the transmission. So read it very carefully. Okay. Moving on. Read it very carefully, guys. Read it very carefully. Very important. Okay. Chalo. Let's start with the questions. Now you are going to tell me the answer. I think I have given you the answer. I think I have given you the answer. The communication of acceptance is complete as against S, however, not complete as against the company. Option B. Option B. Read it once again. Read it once again. Is it complete? No, the entire communication is not complete. But against whom? Against whom? It is not complete against S because it got lost in the transit, but it is complete against the company because they accepted it. It lost in the transit. It never reached S, so it is. The company cannot enforce the contract. The company cannot enforce it. Okay? Is that clear? Is that clear? Your understanding? It is B. आप लोग हड़बड़ी मत करो, आराम से आराम से आराम से. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. कोई नहीं, रीड इट. This is an electric e-contract, okay? Electronic contract. A is from Mumbai, B is from Delhi. Over a phone call, they want to enter into a contract. Goods are to be supplied in Pune, and the money sent will be sent electronically in Mumbai. Tell me, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is very good. It is Mumbai. It is Mumbai. जहां पैसा आप भेजेंगे कहां? Where are you going to send the money? D. Mumbai. It is Mumbai. The passage categorically says that it is Mumbai. Okay? Is that clear, everyone? Okay. Moving on to the next question. Question number 3. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, question number 3. I have the answer. You tell me what is the correct answer. पहले तो लिख लो, जैसे मैंने लिखा है ना वैसे लिख लो, तभी आपको आंसर समझ आएगा. आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस. X, who is in Gandhinagar, makes an offer to sell his second-hand car to Y, who is in Jammu, via an email sent on January 15, 2021 at 2:03. So the offer is sent. X offer is absolutely and unconditionally accepted by Y via email on 15 at 4:04 p.m. So it is accepted. The email of communicating the acceptance is read on the next day. So as against A, it is done. When did X read the letter? 7:04 p.m. Wait, 7:04 p.m. on 15th. But it was sent to him on 4:04 p.m. It was sent to him on 4:04 p.m. So as against X, he gets the letter. So as against X, it is 4:04 p.m. But against Y, जो एक्सेप्टेंस किया है उससे कब कंप्लीट हुआ है? At 7:05 p.m., 7:04 p.m., 7:04 or 7:05 p.m. Is that clear? So the correct answer is, tell me, what is the correct answer? All of you. Tell me, what is the correct answer? He reads it at 7:04. But he has received it at 4:04. 4 बजे आ गया ईमेल, उन्होंने पढ़ा था लेट करके. So against the other side, against Y, जो भेजा है, he can enforce it only after 7:05 के बाद. But X के against में X ने तो नहीं पढ़ा, 4 बजे तक आ गया था, उन्होंने आ गया था, but X ने नहीं पढ़ा. तो as against X, it is at 4:04. But other side, that is Y, who had made that acceptance, against him it is enforceable only after 7:05. Is that clear? Is that clear? समझ में आ रहा है आपको? आपको देखना पड़ेगा. यू आर नॉट अंडरस्टैंडिंग वन इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट. त्रिशिका ऑल्सो, त्रिशिका गुप्ता, मैंने आपको ईमेल किया तो मेरे से तो कंप्लीट हो गया ऑफर. आई सेंड एन ईमेल एट 10:25 राइट नाउ. यू सी इट एट 10:30. ठीक है, अब 10:30 में मेरे साथ और आपके साथ दोनों का ऑफर तो एक्सेप्ट हो गया. आपने आंसर दिया 11 बजे, मैंने 12 बजे देखा, तो एज अगेंस्ट मी यू हैड सेंड मी दैट ईमेल, बट व्हेन डिड आई रीड इट? सो आपको अगर एनफोर्स करना है मेरा ये एक्सेप्टेंस, तो आपको 12 बजे तक रुकना पड़ेगा. आपने 11 बजे शायद कर दिया होगा. टिल इट कम्स टू माई नॉलेज, टिल इट कम्स टू माई नॉलेज. इज दैट क्लियर? क्वेश्चन नंबर 4. फॉरगेट द ईमेल. ईमेल भूल जाओ. अभी ईमेल पहुंचा नहीं तो फॉरगेट द ईमेल. थिंक अबाउट द टेलीफोनिक कॉन्वर्सेशन. वेयर इज इट एक्सेप्टेड? भूल जाओ ईमेल था, भूल जाओ ईमेल था. फॉरगेट दैट देयर वाज एन ईमेल. द करेक्ट आंसर इज आगरा. यस, आगरा. आगरा इज द राइट आंसर. इतना ये तो उतना ट्रिकी नहीं था. पहले वाला आंसर फिर भी मैं सोच सकता था थोड़ा. फर्स्ट एंड थर्ड क्वेश्चन आई फेल्ट दैट there can be some tricky things and all involved, but question number 4 is very easy. बहुत इजी था, बहुत ज्यादा इजी था. ठीक है, ठीक है, चलो लेट्स मूव ऑन. क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. वेरी इजी, वेरी वेरी इजी. टेलीफोन में जैसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होता है, मैं कॉल करके बोलता हूं अरे मेरे को मेरा गाड़ी बेचना है 10 लाख में. आप बोलते हो ठीक है मैं खरीद लेता हूं 10 लाख में. इज इट इंस्टेंटेनियस और इज इट नॉट इंस्टेंटेनियस? तभी तो हो जाता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट उसी टाइम. बताओ. वेरी गुड. द करेक्ट आंसर इज ऑप्शन बी, बोथ फर्स्ट एंड द सेकेंड. Is that clear? Am I clear, everyone? Am I clear? Okay. Now, there are certain tasks for you, and I'm not going to discuss this passage today right now, but I want each and every one of you to read the passage, answer the question in the comment section after the session is over. So I will wait for 10 seconds per slide. You can just take a photo of it as you wish or pause it in a recorded session and answer all the questions to these particular passage. Okay? 10 seconds for you. Okay, so this is a particular very important passage that deals with, the concept of agency in law of contract. And how do you terminate the contract of agency? Okay, so here is the first question. I don't want any one of you to give me the right answer right now. Definitely you will have time, read it, understand it, and give me the answers in the comment section. All of you. जो कमेंट करके बताएगा, मैं उन लोगों को पर्सनली आके मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा और आपको बताऊंगा कहां आपका दिक्कत है. That's question number 1. Question number 2. I don't have the answers. I'm not giving you the answers. You can take a screenshot and definitely you can give me the answers in the chat box. I'm not discussing any of the answers with you right now. Okay? Moving on to question number 3. Question number 4. You can take a screenshot of it, but definitely give your answers in the comment section. I want every one of you to give me your answers in the comment section. And then finally, question number 5. Hitesh Kumar, absolutely. ठीक है, चलो. So, I hope you understood this session that I discussed with you on law of contracts. We understood what is void, voidable, frustration of contract, then bailment, pledge, contingent contract, and wagering agreement. We also did attempt a number of questions, and there is a homework for each and every one of you. Do reply to the homework. We bring to you a test series, 55 mock tests. Those who haven't, get it now. Guys, BYJU'S Exam Prep also brings to you CLAT 2025 comprehensive course for 2025 students, 380 hours of live classes, 300 recorded videos, 55 mock tests, 10,000 practice question and practice test, study material, doubt resolution, and the CLAT Ignite magazine. Those of you who are planning for CLAT 2025, here is the course for you. So these are the upcoming sessions. And definitely do attend these sessions. We are going to have a number of sessions coming ahead. Do not forget to join us for CLAT detailed analysis on December 3rd and ALIT analysis on December 10th. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't by now. Follow our Instagram handle, like our Facebook page, join our Telegram handle, as well as download the BYJU'S Exam Prep app today. So guys, with this, we come to the end of this session. Thank you very, very much. Do like, subscribe to our beautiful channel. Bye-bye. Take care. All the best. God bless you. Bye-bye. Good night.